It's a flex to say you grew up with.
Every time somebody come and say that QC a grimy label, I biasly be believing that shit off the way they handle my takeoff video. You gonna watch that shit 4 months later, manually copyright that shit, and then they so cooked my video. Usually you have the option to cut out the music so then you can keep monetizing the video. They don't even give me that option. My only two options is to leave it up and let them make the money off of it, or to take that shit down and private that jump. They did that with every single one though. They did that with the main one. They did that with the Takeoff and the XXX one. They did that with the fucking Takeoff Migos Part 2. And the whole time, if they ever seen that I was white, they probably felt comfortable about doing that shit, even though the money that I fucking earned myself would have been broken down amongst my community and shit. I really could have had a lot of power to bless a lot of people around me, and they pulled some fuck ass move like that. They probably try and justify that shit on some race politics bullshit. And then that's why all the black people are leaving their fucking label, because they're not rocking with their fucking morals and ethics either. My whole argument is, if OG Maco really is one of the pioneers, right? He really one of the first people to help this brand reach the highest heights, go super mainstream. Now they're competing with the white 40-year-old executive labels and shit. The least y'all could do is fucking like give him a bone here and there so he not on the... Like, he been talking about he ready to kill himself for 8 years. It's not necessarily their fault, right? Like, at some point you gotta pull yourself out of that shit. OG Maco choose to stay in that mindset where he feeling like that. I feel like the way you handle people matters a lot, if that's not the only thing that matters. If he feel accounted for enough, that he know these people that he was once cool with, like, it sound like the head people was the OGs, and then it's run by a bunch of people that, like, they grew up together, they was in the school systems and shit, like, they childhood friends. To what length and degree, who knows? Probably not that close. Like, if you was broke during the whole period, I feel like they could have did more. I don't know, bro. I don't know the politics about shit. I don't know what to call that shit either. He really shot himself in the head, boy. When I look back and I'm like looking at the files of his career though, it don't make sense how he was on top of the world. He had 74 million views in 2014, and in 2016 he doing interviews complaining about why he fell off. Like, bro, you're still hot, just drop another song. I feel it from like if he got fucked over during that period and he clenching on to like he should have been able to capitalize off the you guessed it period more or something like that. I can feel and relate to the envy of that. But like, bro, you so hot. The interview where he's complaining about how he fell off in 2016 did like 600,000 views. I feel like falling off is more of a growth aspect, because you could be making a lot of the right plays behind the scenes and analytically your numbers might not be what they're supposed to be. It's still good growth, forward motion and shit. So if he's starting a label and he's the first one to discover Doja Cat, that's a big time play. That's a big time win. And we just found out about that shit like 5-7 years later. In the conversation of falling off, views aren't really a good metric system, because you could have 6 million YouTube views and you're 400 pounds. Like, a lot of people could just be watching you die, but you're still lit. But you're falling off in life. You're about to be dead. I think to do this, especially during the holidays, is a very selfish move, though. I can't explain why he wanted to do that. I can empathize and understand, you know, it's definitely been times where, like, I might have pump faked a suicide attempt at a younger age. It just logically feels like it makes more sense to just distance yourself from the world if that's what you got an issue with. You just kind of burrow and hide in isolation. I feel like doing this right before Christmas time, and then everybody's got to distract themselves during Christmas to focus on if you're still alive and see what your update is, and nobody can really like wind down and, you know, enjoy the holidays. I don't think that was the way to go about it. And it's like, you only 32, bro. Like, you could have just waited for better times. I think drugs make it harder to move on from something, because you're going to be stuck in that loop for a while. It's understood why you latched on to it as like a vice. If you stuck in a loop and you just having consistent bad days, it's only deteriorating your mental health. If you was to do them, you should do them when everything's going perfect, or you try and be the greatest at something. The reason I say you should do it when everything's perfect, because if you stuck in that emotional loop when you take them, if you in a bad one, your mental health's gonna get worse. But if everything's good and it just makes life feel better along the way, then it's really like a friend alongside you. That's why people fall in love with it type shit, right? That's why people fall in love with it to begin with, type shit. When you in a bad loop, though, you just gonna keep having consistent bad days in your head, and then it's gonna produce like a shittier mental health version of you. But if you channel that correctly into the right vessel, you really could be one of the greatest with that type of, like, I'm not gonna lie, trauma will strengthen your thresholds of what you can handle mentally. So, like, if you going through a lot of, like, turmoil, if you're going through a lot of unhealed, unresolved trauma, but you still want to be great at something and you channel it into the outcome of what you're trying to get, you could make some of the greatest pieces of work. You could be the greatest at your professional position with that type of focus and concentration and dedication and heart. Like, it really be the heart a lot of times. The heart will make some shit happen in a way where it's like, that shit really become a part of your character when you do that shit so many times, to where it's like, nah, he gonna go hard though. Whatever he puts his mind to, he's gonna go hard. It's definitely got like its strengths. But if it's unhealed and untamed and you just letting it run wild in the wrong direction,